for joining us once again. We are glad to have you join us on TV Kudirat at this time. You're welcome on our program, Tips and Insights. The focus today, again, is on health. And on this episode, we are discussing the challenges of older years. Everyone prays to attain old age, and the truth is some are actually afraid of it. Even though they are afraid of becoming old, some people feel that when they become older, they begin to become less attractive, and they have a lot of reasons why they are afraid of it. But at the same time, we all pray to attain old age. So since attaining old age or becoming old is inevitable, what can we do to make the best of old age when it comes to our turn to be an older citizen? To help us with this challenge today is Dr. Isaac Olubanjo Akerele. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, maybe we should start this way. Why are people afraid of becoming old? We desire it, and at the same time, we are afraid of it. I've seen a man who said he saw himself in the mirror and said, "Who is this man?" He couldn't believe that is what he has become.
Yes. People are afraid of aging or getting too old because of consequences of old age. Aging is a natural phenomenon, and first, if we may try to define this before answering the question, we must look at what is aging. Aging actually is a process in which structure and function are diminishing. Diminished structural and functional ability of individual, occur with age. And why? It's because it's a process that are natural. Aging is not a disease. It's a process that occur as a result of a repeated cell death from oxidation, glycolysis, and the process of surviving itself give room for this. And as we are growing older and older by the day, some cells must die. Ability to reproduce these cells, and if they are not coming on board, which is the capacity to produce these new cells, get, how do I say, weaker, if I may use that word, wane over time. And that's the reason why aging occur. It's a natural phenomenon that occur for all living things, including animals. So human beings have a certain age range that they have been more or less capped to be. It's rare to see today or to hear today that an individual human being live above 150, because cell death, natural apostasis will have occurred in many cases, and then just why do people fear to grow old? They fear to grow old because of because of the causes of what I have described. When there is declining in function and in structure, it becomes burdensome. It is heavy. And if there is no social, both psychosocial, biological support, so I use the psychosocial support to say, of that individual, he'll be helpless, because and that helplessness will be referred to the body the individual will feel, and the fear of getting old. And let me say precisely, in our community and our society today, we see a lot of old people being abandoned. So isolation is equally part of it. When they see things happening around them, how am I going to live all alone? On this process, it can be scary. So some people believe that when certain things they enjoy their life, why don't I just go rather than to suffer the consequences of old age? However, it's a natural phenomenon, and it's a process that everyone will get to
Yeah.
if nothing unnatural will come in the process of life. And again, aging is related to genetics. Environment and genetics play a role in how far one can live in life. So the essence of how far we can live in life depend on these two factors. Instead of genetics, some people in their family, on the average, they stay to a certain extent. I know my family is certain age. There are people of whom I can calculate and actually realize that the environmental factor can either sustain, promote or exit and truncate that, establish hereditary trait.
All right, thank you, doctor. One would have observed that there are some people at 90, even 95, they are very active. While you see some people who are just 50 years old, and by the time you realize that he's 50 or she's 50, you say, really, I thought she's 65. What's responsible for the difference in appearance of different people?
So many factors, but primarily we have to learn about the disease nature of that individual. A person living with diseases possibly will age faster than somebody who's without. One, that's the primary thing. Other aspect is the lifestyle modification. Lifestyle of that individual. How has the fellow lived for it? Someone who has been living a sedentary life is likely to be age faster because of the consequences of sedentary life. Hypertension, diabetes, the non-communicable diseases would have been all along the arthritis. These things occur much earlier in them that are not very active. So the lifestyle is correct. Someone who has been taking excess of alcohol may come down with liver cirrhosis, liver problems, and things like that. So this is it may have, or he or she may have heart condition. Primarily, when these conditions are there, the disease condition, whatever, both communicable and non-communicable are there in that fellow, the fellow will live, he will actually be looking much older than someone who doesn't have disease and lifestyle is becoming better. Then, other things that can be responsible is genetics. In some family, we are seeing, for example, all across. Some people are unduly tall, some people are unduly short. Some people are just fat in the family. The genetic predisposition to old age. It was once said on the TV when the governor said his family hardly live above 50 or thereabout, and he was an old man. Because he has studied in his family, maybe his father, his grandfather, and some people in family who have not lived up to 60 or 65. So if he is approaching that, genetically he realizes that he's approaching the age that taking them. So he needs to modify his own lifestyle to live beyond those things. Beyond the age. That benefit. So that's exactly what it is. So genetics takes a role. But most important thing is the factor of lifestyle. Lifestyle has modified the way some get older. When you have a very functional lifestyle, a very good one that takes into cognizance, health, good health-seeking behaviors, good, lifestyle, modification. They practice that. Good eating, healthy, appropriate, and physical exercise. They don't most especially physical exercise. They tend to live longer because we all realize that people again sedentary life is not helpful. Then hyperactivity too may not be totally helpful. On the highway, on the high tide, excessive risk taking. These are things that can create and can shorten life. Reckless life. The way we live, some people live their life either as a road traffic user, you're just on the way on the high, almost on top of highway. So behavior is critical. Drug use and misuse is critical. So these are things that can make people much older than other.
Actually.
Then aspect of spirituality should not be ignored. When you come, you are in good, and then you commune well with your God, with your affiliation, with your spiritual well-being, seem to give self-satisfaction, seem to equally help one to be contented, seem to allow one to live a purposeful life, because you are confining yourself, you are considering your faith, you are living within the tenets of that faith. It gives a social support, and that will be. And again, the role of family should not equally be under stress. You must be able to. You must identify that people who have good family support seem to live longer, healthier, and looking younger than those who have issues, violence in the family, at home, conflict all the time. They tend to look more, older. You see them look younger, older, and things, because there is no internal peace within them and their environment. So environmental factor is good. Good family support is good. Another thing that can fit in, community conflict equally shortens life. You see a lot of people have been, insurgency has been almost with us in Nigeria for something. People living within the conflicting area, where there are crises, violence, you hear any story of kidnapping, of armed banditry, terrorism, things like that. With that, their whole approach to life and things will be affected by this, these man-made tragedies. And their look will not be the same. Someone who will live in an environment that's seemingly peaceful, have a good communication with the community, they live in harmony and things. These are things that make one look much older than their age, and while others look at it. Then aspect of education is key. We must be saying that if you look very well around you, you realize that some who are well educated knows how to take themselves, know how to do certain things than those who are less educated. Not that they are completely ignorant, but because of the type of job they do, the type of system they do, the type of environment they create for themselves, now can make them entirely, different. So their lifestyle, they may not be taking alcohol, they may be doing drugs, because they engage in physical work too often, and that can cause more wear and tear and destruction of this structure we talk about, and of the body.
Thank you so much, Doctor. If you are just joining us, this is TV Kudirat, and the program is Tips and Insight. The focus today is on health, and we are discussing challenges of older years. Doctor has told us a number of things that could make some people to be afraid of aging or to be afraid of old age. He has also told us some of the things that may make some people look older than their actual age, and some of these steps being taken by some people who are looking younger than their actual age. And from that we move on. Doctor, you said that lifestyle may affect some people negatively. For instance, I want you to explain to us, there are people who are smokers, and despite of the fact that they are smokers, they live quite long. While some people don't even smoke, they develop very critical diseases, and on investigation they tell the doctor that I don't smoke, and then the doctor said, is there anybody who smokes around you? And maybe the disease is now traced to that fact that there is somebody who smokes around that person, whereas there are people who smoke directly and it does not, I won't say it does not affect them because I won't know, but they don't run into as much trouble as if somebody who is just nearby another smoker.
Yes, actually, I'm quite. Thank you for this question, and I can say I'm impressed because it's a common phenomenon. And I once had a boss, a chain smoker, who takes no further to 1 to 2 packs a day, and he was in his late 80s, and he told me when I was trying to tell him that no, this is terrible. How do you stop? He said his father lived to 90 something. And when you call it smoke, he learned it from his father. And now he's well about 80. What are you, it's really, yes. It can be confusing for people. And again, making it difficult as if, the message is not necessary. No, it is necessary to say. Smoking precisely is more destructive. We have heard about what is in nicotine and the effect of it on lung. The risk of lung cancer is so extremely high in people who are not even lung cancer and other respiratory diseases that we can see with smokers. So we can tell people to say, because it can, smoking, because nicotine is a carcinogenic agent. So we can, however, to your question, man, to say some people smoke, but they don't have it, and some they don't have it. This can be the role of genetics placing, in which some people may have a protective genetic trait that seem not to allow them to develop this cancer on time faster than others. It's not that they may not develop the consequences of this, but they have a protective mechanism by virtue of that. So with those people who do, we cannot compare, because it is difficult to know those who might or those who might not. So for this reason, you particularly give it a general, because for the whole world scientists, everybody to identify to say there's a link within this and cancer. It will be that there will be critical mass. There will have been, figure, evidence based that there's a link within the two before it could be accepted. And it's evidence everywhere. There are lots of research and a lot of facts coming out from this, and that's the reason why otherwise it will have been removed as part of this thing. So when we have that, this can be a reason why some will do not even the same thing. I've seen people who was a chronic alcoholic, and the fellow never developed hepatocellular carcinoma, whereas somebody else who never in one way or another had an exposure, so may do that. When you said about someone who smoke and they not smoke, we tell people that non-smoker, passive smokers, are maybe at higher risk than the smoker, because the smoker is really actively doing it, is conscious of what he's doing. But when you have people, for example, the wives, the children of smokers are passive smokers. So they say they don't smoke. You must take history as a doctor. You must explore that possibility that somebody somewhere do sleep. It could be neighbor. You may share the same passage, who smoke always in your own direction, and you inhale it often. And because you're a passive smoker, and the tendency in that individual to develop cancer may develop cancer even earlier than that field. These are the reasons why it is. So passive smokers actually have to be screened, for lung cancer as well as the active smokers. So, but what's important here is for one to know, identify the lifestyle that is injurious to individual, and be able to take it up from there, how to help them to cancel them.
All right, doctor. We are discussing the challenges of older years, but now that you have mentioned the issue of smoking, I also want us to talk about people in the villages who cook their food with firewood. The smoke that emanates from setting fire with wood is much more than the smoke that comes from cigarettes.
Yes, I can say what cigarette contain is different from what
firewood.
Yes. If you say we talk of in an enclosed, if they are using firewood in an enclosed place, then if you look at village life, most of the whatever cooking is literally in open place. For that, what they inhale, the content they inhale may be quite different. And again, it's even charcoal. So it's not containing nicotine. So nicotine also is different in that way. So what they are taking is much more injurious than what people are taking.
The firewood
exposure that can be there. Well, what the issue with the village life is that is somehow balanced, because air pollution in the village is less than that of the city. And so whatever they thinking to that clothes, unless it's in an enclosed kitchen or enclosed environment where this is staying, or possibly in their own room where they are using that will be. So the consequence will call it be there. What's common with them will be bronchitis, allergic issue within the lungs. You see them causing, they may later develop what we call COPD, that is, which is, I mean, with it allow their respiratory system, later in life, that these are part of things they may develop, which are the lung infection in which a change of air is not as effective. I'm just trying to come so as to allow me to the public level so I can understand without using so much jargon. So in a way, a change of gases in the lung become impaired. With that impairment, the lung get trapped with them. So a change, so they get easily. So that can come, and that can be what we see if they preparing their meal and things, smoke and things in a closed room. But usually they use an open space, so the impact may not be as much as that of it.
Somebody who smokes directly. All right, doctor. Another challenge, and this is related to women particularly. If a lady is yet to have a child at a certain age, they say the moment she's in menopause, the moment she becomes a menopausal lady, it is no longer possible, and so that becomes a challenge to that individual who is still seeking the fruit of the womb. But in recent times, we've seen 67-year-old lady, 55-year-old ladies having babies at that advanced age. How do we explain that?
Well, the basic things are even from biblical era. We heard about the Sarah and things. No woman is infertile or sterile. This is my understanding, evidence based, because there are few things that are necessary. We are actually diverting from the topic, and
older years.
Older years for women.
Is older years.
Yes, but just without diverting much. So the major thing here is there's no one that is infertile, that is sterile, so say, male or female. What is important is what I would call are necessary, are resources, the knowledge, and the time factor. What are these? If you have the basic knowledge of what to do, how to seek help, appropriate help, so there's no infertility at all. Knowledge, then the time. The last one is actually resources, and you have your resources to be able to put there. We are just in the news a few days. I just read was in the news. We have about 51st baby at 57 years old, because then we now have assisted reproductive techniques that are readily available, and I can sell it everywhere. In a rural Buhari, I was there for a posting and a work and a rural community, and I was able to nurture a 53-year-old woman, first pregnancy, but who was supported through assisted reproductive technique to have a baby for the first time. At that General Hospital Buhari, this is people, I always tell people, it doesn't have to be where a most expensive place. She had, assistant reproductive technique and support for her to carry the pregnancy. But after it was stabilized in her, she was referred to a general hospital where she had the money to pay. She happened to be a baggy woman, at that age, was a farmer. But people rally around her, support her with resources, support her with knowledge, give her a lot of moral boost, realizing that she can have IVF, and it was successful in her. So the issue of aging and reproduction, menopause is different, but with the issue of fertilization, issue of pregnancy, issue of childbirth, they're different. So aging, it can be done at any age. Just like what we read in the Bible about Sarah about 90 or whatever about 90. So this reality can be done. There's no age at all. Technology has come to stay to enhance, again, what's the role of technology? Technology is just to be able to do what? To improve, to solve solutions, to improve on the system and solve challenges, and to unravel mysteries. Because to some people, it will be me. It's be serious
Yeah.
to have a 60-year-old, 70-year-old having a baby. So it's like, how did he do it? Because the mercy up to a stop, maybe at the age of 52, before 55. So within that, it can, these are just what else. So it is important if we, the role of resources, the role of time, the role of knowledge. And and that of social support is very important. So it's very, very important. So then on menopause. Menopause is a natural phenomenon. It's a process of aging. And being a natural phenomenon, let me say, for instance, I always tell a woman who comes to me, you are saying you are 55, or we are about this, and you are still menstruating actively. I will counsel that woman to seek help. Why? Because the risk of developing endometrial carcinoma is high. So, and now you must take a biopsy and look. If it's normal, okay, we're going to need to take history of that to check the background of that woman. Is there any familiar? Your sisters, at what age do they stop menstruation? Your mother, do you have a rough idea of in your family? Genetic and, like I said, hereditary factor can come in which some people may have it later. Some may have it much earlier. I have an encounter with a woman whose breast stop around the age of 38. That can be pathological. But when she able to express, she said when she was going around to ask questions, it's as if her mother's age too. Mercy stop around 38, 39, before 40. So automatically, the evidence that you have to take that into consideration without having to be chasing shadows to think of, because that could be a genetic thing. That means the ovaries should just back up earlier. Early onset of ovarian failure. That you're going to find out why. But if it's genetic, that has been family, and the woman herself has had enough of her baby, you don't need to consider to say, okay, it's only earlier. But if there are manifestations of menopause, because there can be some signs and symptoms that can be not desirable for that woman, so you cannot give her supportive therapy, medication to allow her to live a normal life without the consequences of the hormones that no longer being secreted. These hormones allow women to look busty, beautiful, and things, allow them to look quite good and things. But if these hormones are withdrawn, estrogen precisely, you see that decide develop wrinkles, intercourse become difficult, sexual intercourse become difficult, because dryness of vagina and other stuff. The sexual reproductive organ begins shrinking and something. It's called behavioral changes. So see them a little more, depression, because of mood swing, this and that, and then a lot of them can go to the other side, the bipolar, whatever. But what you need to do to support them, you allow this hormone, to gradually fall in them. Maybe you can have them in the hormonal therapy to take. Some you just talk to them to allow them to understand, it's normal. I had a patient who came in with all flushes. She believed that some people are just after her. When they bring it to come to her, it will go away. And I asked her, I said, "Ever pray to live long in life?" She said, "Yes." "Oh, because you pray, it's your prayer that God has answered. If you're not up to this age of menopause, you will have died." So now you have to experience this. Part of the thing we experience. When she now had the understanding of what I told her about what menopause was all about, she was able to cope. She now saw it. She no longer seen it as an attack. Which people apparently felt, because suddenly you see you have heat, and the heat wanes away. After that, full time or little time, and mood swings. You know that she's no longer coping well with the husband, become more suspicious of the husband who goes to work, and these are things that they are hormonal, because certain hormones are being withdrawn, and life not to be. That phase can be very traumatic, and very, very traumatic, and psychological distressful. But they need support, and they need support with their spouse. And likewise, men get to that rate which we've been, it's understood in men to say, okay, do we really have, similar symptoms in men? So when one way or the other, we realize that. So these are things. So family support, understanding, engagement, education, to allow people to know about what it is. So it's part of aging.
All right, doctor. Menopause is a critical point when most women suddenly realize that, oh, I'm getting older. Are there any such conditions that would make it so apparent to a man that, oh, uh, I'm I'm no longer I'm no longer so young. Are there conditions like that?
Well, there may be many conditions that may want to realize that.
Mm.
Many conditions. One of them that makes it to be related to old age, what a man used to do, ability not to be able to do it. I mean, when your ability to do it, may tell the one that look, as what is rest, what is happening? Is it this? Well, then if that individual now begin to engage his peers all around, and virtually everybody is talking the same, or maybe an uncle say, I passed through it too. That was all I had. So that kind of thing may give impression to say, oh, I'm really getting up. But most importantly, when we talk of aging and the consequence of aging, where most people get scared and worried is the aspect of dementia.
Mm.
Forgetfulness. Dementia is just an aspect, is a because some part of the brain, precisely, in charge of memory and other functions, tend to atrophy. What I mean atrophy is, what we mean by atrophy is that they get to get, loss of function, let me just say, because the way it used to be really rich enough is no longer rich, it's drying. The tissue there are appearing dried and normal, shrinking. And when you have these factors coming in, it manifests in terms of behavior, in terms of ability to recall, ability to function. This is where it comes in. When it becomes profound, that's what most people realize. Am I already there? Am I getting there? And there are processes that facilitate and processes that can delay that. And these are things we tend to do. Let people understand that, look, if your lifestyle will really facilitate this aspect of aging, while some other things may delay those things. For instance, memory is enhanced by constant reading, engaging in intellectual discourse, intellectual activities. Reading, writing, expression improves that. Because what they could have lost to memory, they're able to recap. But it may not be at the same pace where the younger develop, but they will not totally lose them. And that sustains them a lot. And that's why we see among people, we have seen head of state and former head of state, some of them are not the same in terms of coherence, in terms of record. That was because its ability to utilize their intelligence, better than others. How do they, what I mean by intelligence, engaging that intellectualism in them, reading, writing, a discourse, engaging in community activities, then physical activity. We cannot underestimate them. Again, good meal, healthy lifestyle tend to promote this thing. So these are things that can make to be really think that, okay, why individual can feel healthier. I met a man, and luckily, my clinic, he was 80 plus, and in terms of memory, in terms of recall, activity, in fact, the son that followed him, I was surprised because he looked much younger than the younger man that followed him. And I was asking, what was the secret? He just said he was a public servant, he retired. Since then, I've been engaged in virtually everything. He has a business, he established when he was about to retire, and then he keep traveling, and he keep telling you, because if he joke that as a Igbo man, then you have to be everywhere. So he tend to be everywhere if I don't say anti-student. First, he maintained good weight. The weight was just there. He never had so much weight. Which is the aspect? Because these are things to be. Fat are be seen to be enemy of the brain at old age. So he didn't add those things, and to him, he just living his life, and they say he has lived his life. He take alcohol, but in a moderate rate, he doesn't drink and things. These are, of course, those things that can really make one, to look younger. And if it's other way, one start feeling older. Other aspect that men, if it were men, feel earlier is a capacity. The sexual capacity is called a loss in some. When they begin to lose that, they realize I'm getting old in some. Some too, its ability to write. They just realize that they are not as righteous in what they do as before. So these are things. Is like I mentioned, aging, affects structure and function. And when this structure and function are being affected, individual will be thinking that aging is setting.
Okay, doctor, I think that we are going to make this a series. The challenges of older years, because when you mentioned dementia, I also remembered something like prostate and a few other things. And I think that we cannot really touch it in details now. Maybe we will take each of these diseases one after the other. But briefly, would you like to say anything about prostate and how it is
Yes,
related
let
to
me mention
aging?
generally before we mention it, okay, because to make it rich, when we talk about them, there are other diseases or ailments that are associated with aging. It is very common. First, arthritis, because the joint is aging, the fluid in the joint is drying up naturally, and because there is friction occur and there will be pain and there is inflammation of the joint occur. That is common, and that's why you see most aging people go what? Complain of joint pain and things. Some are bending down. If they are very tall, bending down is natural because of the aspect of the spondylosis may occur and things, and arthritis. We talk about it. Heart condition is some. That's the reason why you see them. Why do they have heart condition? They have developed heart condition because of what's called atherosclerosis. Atheromas are formed within the blood vessels. They are natural because of aging, and then it could actually be linked to the metabolism process and the type of meal or how healthy their diets are. If they are eating healthier, then they may not be able to develop this thing. This thing naturally block the blood vessel, just like the pipe in your house, the water pipe. Over some time, the pipe gets rusted, or you see a lot of debris or something that's including them. Any of these debris may dislodge, and sometimes you open your tap, you see some metallic things or something, in your water system, just same way. And because of that narrowing of blood vessel, making the blood vessel to be more fragile, ability to burst, and that later it can burst in the brain, the vessel in the brain can burst in the heart, can lead to what's called myocardial infarction because of the heart attack. Otherwise, that's what people call that. Why that thing can cause the CVA, cerebrovascular accident, otherwise called stroke. When you have those things, the cause of those things occluding, it can burst, and all the debris, which is a what? Fatty plate, those plaque can move up and occlude any of us and cause ischemic stroke. These are things that are common within that. Again, what other thing you mentioned, prostate. It's a natural phenomenon for a man. Just the way we talk of endometrial carcinoma for a woman and ovarian cancer possibly for a woman. It's a normal process for that. In fact, it's a normal aging process. For anyone above 50, they need to be screening, putting eye on their prostate, because it's a prostate grows as it's growing. It can transform in the course of its growth. Transformation will occur, mutation will occur, anything will occur, and develop cancer. So for that, it is part of the process. And the above 50, age of 50, 60, they may be presenting with lower urinary tract symptoms, in which it said them urinary detention, or from there because of prostatic enlargement. It is normal. And what do you do about that is that it's part of things like I mentioned earlier, engagement. Appropriate health must be able to allow people know this is what. Before now, they thought it's a thing that it is called by one devil or the other. It is somebody that is responsible for it. It's not the other that is responsible for it. So somebody knows, somebody urinating blood, you say no, it's an attack. It is not. If that individual has taken into consideration some few things, yes, then automatically it can be. So prostate is part of it. Any intervention of prostate by screening, if a mere erectile examination will say that the same way. So these are processes of age. Likewise, skin endometrial carcinoma for female, ovarian cyst for female, breast cancer for female. These are things that will be evaluated.
Like I said, we are going to take them one after the other so that we can really, really delve into details. But doctor, it appears that why there are a lot of health challenges for people in old age. A lot of people in that bracket don't find healthcare affordable. What do you think they can do to still live healthy without having to spend too much?
Thank you. One of the challenges we didn't get there of old age is access to care. Access to care. And when we talk of access to care, it encompasses a lot of responsibilities and a lot of services. First, their mental health, the social support. In case of how do they take, how do they live? Most children are already somewhere catering for themselves, trying to look for survival. Parents are left at home. If one of them should go first, to die first, the other one is in isolation, rejected, living possibly in abject poverty. No matter the resources around the fellow, because he or she may not be able to know how to communicate with the environment. He has developed or she has developed some debilitating diseases or inability to move around. Maybe sight is poor, arthritis is there, BP issue, diabetes, and other things which are related to age. So even if they are healthy, they need support. And not living all alone or possibly with an house help to give. So for that reason, access to care becomes difficult for them. Who take them to the hospital? Who support them? How do they book? Then how do they finance even their care in the hospital? So there are many factors that are responsible for them to have poor care at old age. For all of us, we are all going to get there, and we're getting there. What are those institutions in place? Now, I can say the National Health Insurance is now incorporating, the elderly into their scheme, which is very important as well. I mean, laudable. We must be able to propagate this to the entire world to know that individual can now come and enroll into the program. Enrolling into this program will allow them to be able to know, to precisely understand their care, the type of care they can access, and where they can access the care, and who is likely going to give them the care, and what are the boundaries set for them based on the arrangement they are having with their health management organization, the HMOs. So these are very critical. So we must be able to now realize, okay, fine. Then the society who understand that, the elderly can have this, can be able to do. Again, community is very important. I can keep the family first, then the community. Within our community, I would take into consideration to have older people homes where they can be, not just the hospital, not those who are critically ill, but where they can be able to interact with themselves. It could be like a clinic. The elderly just attend the clinic, interact with their mates and things, and share their experiences. They will not be able to understand what is going on through them. It's not just they alone. Other people are experiencing this pain, so it becomes a source of strength for them to be able to cope with whatever they need to do. Then the role of family is key. We shouldn't abandon the elderly, the old people. The children must be able to be taught and carried along this. And this is really important in the act of parenting, because it starts with the way we parent our children. If they are able to know ab initio, they are responsible for us and for other older people later in life, it can be very helpful because they have built that attitude in themselves. The behavior is already there to know that, this is process is going to be. That is it. So falling back to government, there must be regulatory laws and support. When we talk of beyond politics, beyond making announcements of elderly stipend and thing. There must be institutional framework
support.
that will support that will be helpful to all of them to access not only care but equally access services. The services can only be it can be it can be psychological to say okay, even entertainment, it should for them to there should be a day dedicated to the elderly in which they engage, they are engaged in their community. They can equally be incorporated into community services. Some elderly on their own cannot come and join services and do. It becomes sort of fulfillment for them. And this sort of fulfillment make them more and more to be able to function because they are no longer idle. They realize the society still recognize them. It could be as even elders, the elderly wisdom panel in which they are sharing experiences of what they have seen and think. It could be helpful in political, in the political arena. It could help in the economical and equally in family setting. So they look up to people who tell them the story of how things are and the experience of their life, and because it's in synergy, can help the community to develop their own specific norms and practices. We can become cultural.
All right, Doctor. Finally, are there simple things that, regardless of your situation, either your children are abroad or all your mates have returned to the village, or most of them are dead, or your pension is meager, regardless of all of this, are there simple tips that you would like to leave with elderly people that they can practice, they can use to help themselves?
First is that this first to recognize that aging is a natural phenomenon. It is not disease. And they equally be encouraged to identify that it's just a phase in their life, and it's actually they should be happy that they got to where they are. So supporting them, that's the first thing. Once you allow them to realize, oh, I'm really fine, it's a normal process that I've gotten here, then it becomes source of strength. Then other thing to tell them that don't be idle. Engage yourself in a lot of things. Challenge yourself intellectually. Contribute to society even at old age.
Like a 99-year-old man who raised money for COVID in America.
That's an example. Be connected with your creator. Be spiritually.
Was it in UK or America? It was in UK.
So you must be connected with your creator through your spirituality. It's a time to be able to define purpose in life. It's a time to be able to reflect on error, mistakes, and how to amend some. It's time to find a role of unify the society. Like I said earlier, they must be encouraged to engage in community services because this will take away boredom. Yeah. It will take away, all those sad moments, things, and isolationism will be out. It equally intelligent, allow them to be, to be intellectually, stimulated because challenges out there can be there, and at the same time, they must be connected with other people, their immediate family members, their colleagues, friends, and their community. You see, when they are connected with this, it becomes source of income, source of strength, and that can be very helpful. So these are things I can say will be helpful. Most importantly, they should learn how to check on themselves health-wise. Periodic medical checkup is important as we grow older, so that any particular diseases can be taken out, so that even when they are dying stage become less stressful and less painful, for them. So these are things that I really a lot of things to be, and we can go on and on, but essentially what I've mentioned so far will be what I will always suggest again and again to the elderly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akerele. You have really blessed us and the viewers. I'm sure they are blessed too. We hope to have you soon again, and we hope that when we call on you, you would oblige us.
Thank you, it's my pleasure, and I'll always be eager to be here. It's wonderful sharing my experiences.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akerele. And you've had it all. If you have an elderly or an aging parent, don't be far away from them. Take care of them. Government should also deliver on welfare packages that would make life uh, um, more beautiful for elderly people. And as an elderly man or woman, take care of your family. But I'll start from people who are still young and agile. This is career life, and you make a lot of money. Don't spend it alone. As they will say, you chop alone, you die alone. That's on a lighter note. But invest in your family so that when old age come knocking, your family would also be available to you. Older people have been advised to um, connect with their friends, engage in community service where it is possible, eat well, and accept the reality and be grateful for it that getting um, old in life at any advanced age in life is a blessing by God, which one should be grateful for. I thank you so much for coming here, and we'll be back very soon. My name is Bola Omotayo. On behalf of all of us in the studio, particularly my bachelor assistant, Kayo Diayeni, I say bye for now. God bless.